Hey everyone, Spicy Toast Gaming here. Hope you're having a great day. Hope this video can make it a little bit better for you. Today is patch notes day, so patch 6.1. Let's jump right in. First though, if you're enjoying all the daily content, like and subscribe is greatly appreciated, and let's get into it, starting off with Kayle. So Kayle is the new PvE champion coming to the game, so let's take a look at her star powers. So up first, Shared Blessings. When you give or grant stats to an ally in play, grant a random ally in hand 1 power, or the top ally in your deck if there's none. This is a very nice little quality of life change. Let's actually try to zoom up a little bit more for you here. So if you don't have any units in your hand, this is still going to be buffing up your top deck. Really nice, so this isn't getting wasted. Now it is just 1 power, it's not that big of a deal, but it is just the first star. Your 2-star though, +1 starting mana, round start, create a Blessing of Targon in hand. If you already have one, reduce its cost by 1. Now that Blessing of Targon, it is a 4-cost, burst speed, grant an ally 3/3. So a great way to try to buff up your units, and then triggering your star powers. Now for your 3rd star power, when you give or grant stats to an ally in play, grant a random ally in hand the same amount of stats, or again, the top unit in your deck. So now when you play that Blessing of Targon, and you grant one of your units 3/3, you're also buffing up a unit in your hand by 3/3 as well, which is really nice. Now for the 4-star, we have Rushed Them Down. When you summon an ally, give it 1/1 this round. This is nice for just trying to buff up your units a little bit. Also great for Kayle, because she's about having your units attack with buff stats, and that gives her more scaling. But when you summon a unit and you're giving them these stats, it should count for your 3rd star. So by playing this unit, you're then also buffing up a unit in hand as well, which makes this go from a kind of mid 4th star to actually potentially being very good. Now a big way you are going to get scaling from this is going to be through your different spells, but there are also a lot of effects to just buff up your unit. Like when you drop Kayle herself, she buffs up your entire board, giving them all 1 power, or 1/1 if she's leveled. So just being able to drop her, buff up your whole board, is then also buffing up your hand, which will be very nice. Now for the 5-star, game start, get a mana gem. Simple, straightforward. And then the 6-star is quite interesting. When you play a 5+ power ally, it deals 3 to all enemies. If it's a 10 or more power champion, it strikes all enemies instead. Now this will be a lot of fun. By this point, with having here 6-star, most units you play are going to be over that 5+ power. So almost every unit you drop is dealing 3 to all enemies. That'll be really good. Now this second part, while it does sound crazy, you're probably only activating this like once, maybe twice per game. So it will be a very strong effect and often just completely wipe the board, which is awesome. But this is something that normally is just going to be happening probably once or twice a game, unless you really try to build around it. So it should be fun. And I think in some specific encounters, this will be incredible. Taking a look at the starting deck now. So we have the Solari Shield Bearer, Daybreak, give me 4 health this round, 2 cost 3/2. Now for a lot of these, you're going to notice they have more health than power, and that's because Kayle is really good about buffing up her unit's power, but not quite as good with buffing up their health. So that's why a lot of these units have that higher health pool. We also have the Winged Messenger, 3 cost, 2/4, power 3, elusive. So if you can get it to that 3 power, you now have a 3 cost elusive, which can be pretty good. We also have the Kayle Blessing, burst speed, grant an ally 2/1, and remove all negative keywords from it. So if the enemy gives you like a ephemeral unit or ephemeral on one of your units, you can try to use this to get that off of them. And then also it's just another way to buff up your units, which is pretty good. Gift Giver, when I'm summoned, create a gem in hand. Now gem, 1 cost focus speed spell to be able to buff up one of your units. Next then we have the Shield Vault, grant an ally 1/1 and stun an enemy, giving you a good amount of control. And again, since you are able to buff up one of your units with all these effects that are buffing your units, it is going to be triggering your star power, so that's really good. Wounded White Flame, Fury, and Faded, 3 cost 2/3. Now it will be interesting to see if effects like Faded and Augment count for your star powers. Like if you trigger Faded on a unit, does that extra 1/1 also get applied to a unit in hand? We'll have to wait and see how that really works. I kind of don't think it will, but I think there's a possibility that it could, which could be pretty fun. Again, we'll have to wait and see though. Sacrificial Scholar, so 2 cost 1/2 with that Faded. Last Breath, create in hand copies of the first 3 spells you played on me. So this is giving you some card generation. You want to target this with at least 3 spells. Then when it dies, you get those spells back in hand. And then Blinded Mystic, 4-cost 3/2, play grant an ally 1/1 and silence an enemy follower. So pretty solid, and by buffing up your unit, you're again buffing up a unit in hand. And the one that you're not seeing here is also Kayle. Kayle is a 5-cost, so she's actually going to be the most expensive thing in your deck, which honestly isn't too bad. Pretty nice that overall most of your deck is just 2 or 3 cost cards. Last up then for Kayle, let's take a look at her epic relic. So the Starfire Spellblade. Power, if I'm Kayle, +1 starting mana, which can be a pretty simple power, but is incredibly powerful. I have 1 power for each encounter you've won this adventure. So the longer the adventure goes on, the more encounters you are clearing, the stronger and stronger Kayle gets, which is really nice for her because she's all about buffing up her power. She starts as just 1 power. Once you get to 6 power, she gets that quick attack. Once you get to 11, she levels. And then once you get to 16, she gets double attack. So being able to just start her off much higher, especially later in the adventure where you need the help, will be pretty interesting. Moving on then, let's take a look at what else we're getting in this patch other than Kayle. So one of the big additions is new encounters. So these are like the exclamation marks you see as you're going through the adventure. So up first, Stargazer, a new rare encounter. Stargazer has been added to the pool of encounters that can be generated on any map. Stargazer lets you buy powers like Smooth Soloist, but drawn from the Teamwork Star Power pool. This Teamwork Star Power pool, that is essentially the other champion star powers. This is going to be really nice because Smooth Soloist was one of the best encounters you could get. So having another copy of that, but for other champion star powers, I think will be really nice. We also have the Arcane Champion Power Encounters. So the Champion Power Encounters from the Arcane event, that's the event that's just finishing with this patch, have been added to the pool of encounters that can be generated on any map. So before, these could only happen in the event. Now it can happen anywhere, but it does say they are very rare, so keep your eyes peeled. So this is an encounter that lets you buy star powers of just one specific champion. So like one example would be the Samira's Arsenal. You go there, it shows you Samira's different star powers, and you can buy them. So this is awesome that this is just going into the overall general game and not just in the event. Now we are getting the normal bundles for Kayle, and then the biggest thing that's really coming this patch is these new quality of life features. So we're going to be getting updates to the champion roster, adventure details, and the relic inventory. So up first for the champion roster, you're now going to be able to sort your champions, which will be fantastic. So you can sort them by alphabetical order, star level, upgrade ability, and region. And then you can also apply multiple of these filters at once. This will just make it so much easier trying to find your champion, or even just trying to find your champions for a specific region. You might have an adventure where it says, win this adventure with an Ionia champion. So you can just go look at all of your Ionia champions to try to figure out, okay, who do I want to play for this adventure? So that'll be great. Also, the upgradability calculation is not going to take wild fragments into account, which will be very nice. I know there often could be issues where you might have a lot of wild fragments, and so it tries to tell you that almost everyone is upgradable, but you don't really want to spend a lot of those upgrades. So this will really help that as well. Now we also get adventure details. I did not expect this. This is quite interesting. So Relic Link, a new button will direct players to the Relic inventory before starting an adventure. This should probably be like the monthly challenges, how you can kind of change your build in there without having to leave the monthly challenges. If you have a empty relic slot, the button will glow to remind you before starting the adventure. Kind of a small thing that normally isn't going to matter that often, but it will feel really good when this does actually help you out. We also have Quick Swap Recommendation. So a second new button will open a flyout with 3 champion recommendations for the selected adventure and a quick line to the champion roster. Now, I'm not sure how this is going to be calculated, whether it just the devs know for a specific encounter like these 3 champions are really good, or if it's going to be kind of based on your account. I might just select 3 of the strongest champions for you that might have rewards to get in the adventure. We'll have to see, but that is a really interesting feature that, again, did not think we'd be getting anything like this, but should be really good. The monthly challenge and shop buttons on the world map are now hidden when the adventure detail panel is open. Really nice, just making it not look as messy, kind of cleaning up the UI. This will be a great little addition. Next up then, Relic Inventory. So the Relic Inventory now has a new layout, which thank goodness, the UI has been kind of unmanageable for quite a while now. So by default, the Relic Inventory will filter by only equipable relics, which hides relics that can't be equipped to the champion's current unlocked relic slots. So if you're playing a champion that only has rare relics, it's not going to show you any epics. Or if you're starting like a brand new champion and it only has like a common relic slot, it's not going to show you all the rares or epics. This will be really nice. but this filter can be toggled on and off if you want to see the ones that you can't use on your champion yet, just to try to plan out maybe what you want to be going in the future. Players can search their relic inventory based on text and the relic's associated cards and mechanics. This will be really nice for not only just typing in your specific relics, you don't have to find it from a list, but also this can help in build crafting where you might be playing a champion that you really want to get overwhelm on this champion. So you can just type in overwhelm and then it can show you all the different relics that are able to do that, because we have like 6 or 7 different relics that can give you overwhelm. So being able to just see from the list and pick the one that's going to work best for your champion will be really nice. And then you can also filter by rarity and number of copies owned. Now down here, Echoes of Teamwork. Many champion star powers have been added to the general power pool. Some of the existing powers have been adjusted or removed from the pool entirely. And then new events that allow you to purchase champion star powers have been added to all adventures. We already went over this and saw this at the top. So here's a list of all the powers that have been added to the general pool from either the champions powers or the weekly nightmares or adventures. Now these haven't all loaded in, but up first we have the Samira 3-star, giving us some nice cost reduction. The Alawi 3-star, Tom Kench, the Jinx 6-star, which this will be so much fun to get on other champions. The Nila 1-star, Yumi 1-star, Yasuo 1-star, and then the Lux 1-star. Pursuit of Progress, I think this is the Heimerdinger 4-star, and then Sweet Solitude. This is Ornn's 1-star, I believe, but create a 0-cost time and dedication in hand. Now, they did also change a lot of the different rarities from some power or items. Let's go over that right here. You can see up first, Power Riff, cards that cost 1 less for each card you've drawn this round. This is a little bit sad, but it was one of the best possible rare items you could get on your card, so it makes sense that they're making it go up to epic. Now, Yordle Portal, manifest a card for my regions. This going down to common. Not too surprising. It wasn't really that useful as a rare. Like, it's still not bad to get, but definitely feels pretty good as a common. Endless Wealth. So get 200 additional gold after each combat encounter. This used to be a legendary, and I feel like that honestly could take this down to even a rare. It's normally not worth perking up, other than if you have some specific relics like Stack Deck or Bounty Hunters. If you get this as like your first power, it can be worth picking up, but yeah, they could have reduced this down even further, I feel like. Power Overwhelming. This is actually really good. So round end, grant allies everywhere 1/1. So this just used to be your allies on your board, but this is now buffing up all of your units everywhere, giving them that scaling power. So this legendary is going to be much better now. We also got Enfeebling. When you damage an enemy, reduce its power by the damage dealt. A little sad that this is going up to rare, but not that surprising. It was one of the best common powers in the entire game. So it game moved up to rare. Yeah, not that surprising. It was very powerful for its rarity. Evolution, this one, it does hurt a little bit. Allies have 1/1 for each keyword. This is going from epic to legendary. This does feel a little bit bad, especially because it's just been in the game for so long, so it getting changed now does hurt a little bit, but again, it was one of the best epics in the entire game, so kind of makes sense. Inheritance, when an ally dies, grant its power to a unit at hand. Again, a very strong power. I kind of do wish this one stayed as rare, because while this is a good power, it's kind of better that this is one that combos together with other powers really well, such as like a Titanic Wake, Trifarian, or some champion star powers. So I kind of wish this one stayed as rare, but I do understand this can make it really broken for you at times. Converging timelines. They actually changed this one really well. So now it's the first time you play a follower each round, pick one of 3 followers that cost 3 more to transform it into. So it used to not have this bottom part right down here. And before, it was kind of one of the worst powers in the entire game. I even asked and talked with chat on several streams, like, is there any champion that really even wants this at all? And pretty much no champion in the game really wanted to play with this. But now that it's giving you bigger units, this actually will be pretty solid, and I'll definitely try picking this up. Wounded Prey, this is the Warwick 4-star. When an enemy with 2 or more health is summoned, deal 1 damage to it. It sounds like a really strong power, but I just noticed myself pretty much never grabbing this whenever I got the opportunity, and I always just re-rolled. So it going down to a common does actually make sense here. Domination, this is another one that does hurt. Round start rally, so this is going from rare to epic. Feels a little bad, but again, it was one of the best rares in the game, so I get why they're moving it up, but it does hurt a little bit. Now, there are some powers that are getting removed from the available pool, just because with them adding in some of the champion specific ones, they're not really needed anymore. So right here, alternate power source, game starts summon a Hextech Observatory. This makes it so that when you play a spell, you refund mana equal to its cost. It's essentially the exact same mechanic as Lux and her star powers, but it doesn't take up a spot on your board. So makes sense that they're just getting rid of this since they're adding in the Lux powers. Craftsman Favor, this is pretty much the exact same thing as Orn's. So again, makes sense that this is getting rid of. Now they are taking some items out of the pool of available upgrades, which does feel a little bit bad, but I think most people will enjoy this. So Reckoner's Mark 2/2, when I'm summoned, the strongest enemy and I strike each other. A lot of people didn't like this as it could get generated on your cards and then they would just end up dying, especially from things like Guardian Orb. So that not happening anymore will be a upgrade to Guardian Orb, but I just always had a lot of fun with this relic, even though it definitely could backfire at times. Same with like Curse Symbol, and then some of these other ones like Chronomancy and Alchemist Incendiary. They just said that now you can get more items on cards through things like Support Champions Kit. They wanted to prune down the number so you don't get as overwhelmed or you don't end up rolling some items that are just not going to be as good for you. Now, it wasn't clear if these are completely just removed from the game or if this is just removed from like after battle rewards that it gets put on cards or on like your support champions, or also removed from card generation such as like Guardian Orb. It's possible that you might still see some items with this in like the shop, so not clear if it's completely removed or just removed from most places you're going to see it. All right, almost done. One of the last things, the Emporium offer. So the Beast Within was the relic you could straight up buy from the Emporium. They're now getting rid of that and putting in the Black Shield. So that is the one that gives all of your units that spell shield. A couple bug fixes to finish up then. So fix an issue with a monthly challenge. Champion select screen would scroll back to the top when selecting a champion. This was very annoying, so great that that's fixed. Fix an issue with the Warring Kingdoms Tridimir skin. Fix an issue where Overwhelm and Impact were not highlighted in the Cruel Experiments text, which is the Warwick relic. And then last up, fix an issue where Cosmic's Blessing didn't show the correct effects when claimable in the battle pass. So that is it in the patch. As far as a quick little summary, we're getting Kayle, we're getting some massive improvements to like the champion select, adventure, as well as relic select screens, which is going to be really, really good. That's going to massively improve the game. The arcane event is finishing, but a lot of those encounters also are now being added into the general pool of upgrades, so that'll be really fun. And then they're changing a lot of the rarities on some different powers and items, as well as kind of balancing some of them. So even though we're not getting that much content as far as new champions or flat out adventures, I think the game should feel very different and in most cases much better to play. So really looking forward to that. Now we will be diving in live as soon as the patch drops. So if you want to experience that, go ahead and check out the Twitch channel down below. But we'll also be posting tons of videos here on YouTube breaking down everything for you. So if you don't want to miss anything, like and subscribe. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.